So, Operation Shoot or Save the Big Dog. The big dog in question apparently being Boris Johnson. So this is a story within the Westminster bubble, let's say, of them having a discussion. But of course, it reflects the situation in the country, which is everyone hates Boris. I mean, not everyone. Like, what were they on? Like 40-something%, and now they're in a pathetic state and thinking about getting rid of him.
Right.
So this is the Guardian article here, written... Operation Rinka. Tory rebels raise pressure on Boris Johnson to resign. And Rinka here is a reference to a scandal in British politics that was ages ago, so I had to look it up, reading the just details of it. Apparently, Rinka was the dog of a gay politician's lover, and the gay politician wanted the lover to stay quiet about their gay relationship. So he ended up getting a hitman that went around and shot the dog as a threat, and it didn't work. The scandal ended up coming out anyway. Also, you shot a dog. I don't think this made it any better. Makes you look worse. So
I'm sorry, but aren't you just entitled to go full John Wick when someone sends a hitman to shoot your dog?
Yes. so
I don't know why he thought this would shut the guy up. Okay.
No. Apparently he pointed the gun at the guy and then tried to fire a few times and it jammed and then got in a car and ran off. Presumably it was all about just threatening the guy's life, not actually trying to kill him. But still, like, if I was the guy and I had my dog shot, I just make everything worse. Why would I work with you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is a reference. So Downing Street insiders have reportedly devised a plan to sack officials and save Johnson, referred to Operation Save Big Dog. And this is the Boris Johnson camp. They're coming up with Operation Save Big Dog by trying to fire everyone and say that all the failures are theirs, not ours. We didn't do nothing. Also, stop looking at the parties.
This is like a children's cartoon level scheme.
Yeah, well, you know, why not? But the Tory rebels are raising pressure on Boris Johnson to quit over the Downing Street party scandal, because there are many, with naming the operation Operation Rinka. So the idea that they're going to shoot the dog, and he's the big dog. So it's kind of genius sort of referencing there from the Tory MPs. So, you know, hats off to that. But I thought we'd go back for the parties a minute just to check out how all that's going. I was away when he gave his apology. But if we go to the next link, you can see the BBC here. How many COVID lockdown parties are held in Downing Street? All right, look, when the headline is parties, and we're looking at how many, you've buggered up. You've buggered up big.
Yep.
And John, I don't know if you can scroll down. I don't know how much you uploaded on this. But there should be, you see the button there, show more? Because this is a timeline, and there's loads. There's lots.
Got quite the actual active social life, don't they, Downing Street staffers?
Yeah, we can't go through them all, because we'd be here all evening. And I thought we just mentioned the worst ones.
Someone should just go on Google Maps and change Downing Street's metadata to party venue.
Yeah, I mean, there were, what was it, like 30 people down there with Boris Johnson masks, screaming, you know, with drinks, being like, it's a work event, I swear, at the cops. So, the worst parties here being about 100 people were invited by email to socially distanced drinks in the number 10 garden on behalf of the Prime Minister's principal private secretary, Martin Reynolds. Boris Johnson has confirmed he attended the event, saying he was there for 25 minutes and believed implicitly that this was a work event, which is why there were 100 people there, all drinking, as I do at this work every day. You know, we have all the people around, all our mates, and we all get drunk every day at work. No, no one's believing that. It's bullshit. Stop myself. But there is the worst one in here, because that's just an obvious lie, in which I mean, just if we were heartless for a minute, just realpolitik, I can't think of the worst optics on planet Earth, which is two parties were held by Downing Street staff at number 10 the night before Prince Philip's funeral, in which Boris Johnson was not at either party. At least that's the position of his team. You reckon that's going to stay the same?
I don't know. Facts have a strange way of changing, don't they?
The day before, they're burying Prince Philip, and the Queen has to sit on her own at her husband's funeral. All the family have to be separated from her. The entire public are watching. You're having drinks at number 10, and you've locked down the country.
Not a good look.
Just really stupid. But of course, just the absolute breach of the rules of how things are meant to work here, which is that, well, the king is meant to abide by the same rules as the servants, or it's the plebs or whatever as well. This is the ancient English tradition that, okay, we have the law, but kings can also be abiding by the law, and the Prime Minister being the modern encampment of that. So he enforces rules on us to save us all from the virus, but the rules cannot be enforced on him because he doesn't need saving from the virus. Tells you something about the virus, doesn't it? But if we go to the next link, we can see the polling on this, at the real-world effect across the country, and this is just Politico, who I use for generally polls of polls, and you can see here, I don't know if you can scroll to the right, John, because this isn't showing the full thing, that only goes to October, in which we can see the Conservatives slowly losing more and more gap. It's not loading on the screen for some reason. I don't know why. But then the Conservatives end up going below Labour, and now Labour is consistently beating the Conservatives in every poll by being Labour. And come on, you guys have seen the compilations I put together of the Labour Party conference. They're winning. They're the most popular people in the country. How has this happened? And if you go to the next link, we can see how this has happened, which is that people are just leaving en masse from the Conservatives. I mean, as you can see here, this is the worst of the worst polling for the Conservatives. 27%. They used to be on 45. They're 14 points behind. I mean, I never thought a party could have this much. Well, 10 parties could have this much effect. I have a number he's been at now. But just, dead in the water politically. And if we go to the next link, we can see, well, where are the support? Are they all rushing to the Labour Party? If you scroll down this new statements article, you'll eventually get to like I don't know what it's called, stanky chart or I can't remember. Keep going, keep scrolling. There's a chart here, and as you can see, Conservatives and then apathy. So these are 2019 Conservative voters. 33% now say that they've become part of the apathy party, which is meaning that they're just not involved, not there. Only 5% going to Labour. So this is not some surge for the Labour Party. This is not loads of people supporting the lunatics as we have seen at the conference.
But it also shows, like, if you're one of those apathetic voters out there, if you switched your support to someone like Reform UK, then there would be a sizable shift in the country's politics. So it is worth it to shift to alternative parties.
I mean, you can see there's 6% going to Reform UK, even more than Labour.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want fertile ground or where you should be looking for where you might want to go if you're not happy with the Conservative Party, I mean, that's there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, of course, there are other alternatives as well. So shop around. Find something better than just not. But I can also sympathise with just not, because, I mean, the state of it. I thought we'd also check in with the best person. So, actually, one more thing. If you scroll down again, John, there is some more numbers here I forgot to mention, which is the polling of the seats which the Conservatives won. Remember that red wall? 62% disapproval rating for Boris now. Just there.
Ooh, dear.
Yeah. So in all the seats that he has just won are therefore kind of marginal and he needs to keep, and all the MPs who got him into the position he's in are all going to lose their seats. At least that's how the polling shows. So yeah, I'm right to be unhappy.
It's a shame because the Northern MPs have been some of the better backbenchers as well.
Yeah.
Red Wall Conservatives.
I do love there was a presumption that they'd all be kind of socialist light or something, and they're all Thatcherites because they're like, no, free market. If I was a socialist, I would have joined the Labour Party. What's wrong with the rest of this party? Why are you all thinking I'm like that?
Yeah.
But if we go to the next link, we can see Cummings still dropping bombs. And as you can see here, updated blog, PM was told about the invite. He knew it was a drinks party. He lied to Parliament. And you can have him listing there on his link, which apparently you have to pay for. The PM's Principal Private Secretary invited people to a drinks party. He said the Principal Private Secretary was told to cancel the invite by at least 2 people. He checked with the Prime Minister whether it should go ahead. The Prime Minister agreed it should. They both went. It was actually a drinks party. PM's just talking crap. And yeah, I to be honest, I still think this is all Dominic Cummings doing, like the taking down of the whole system on his way out, which I have to just give hats off to, regardless of how you feel, because it's just kind of cool, if nothing else. So Operation Big Dog, in response to all this, is of course to try and make the PN popular, as if that was so hard. Or something that he shouldn't have done. I think been expecting to do.
Thing is, in politics, when you've blown it, you've blown it.
Yeah, but what's the things they're going to come up with at least what we've seen? So if we go to the next link,
I have a suggestion: orchestrate an invasion of the Falkland Islands.
That does work. That would be pretty based. West Falklands does need to go.
That's about it. I'm out of ideas.
Yeah. So this is Defund the BBC coming out with the news that, or at least the brownest of red meat you've ever seen. Nadine Dorris confirms that despite the BBC wanting the licence fee to rise up to £180, it will be frozen for 2 years. That's it, really.
Good. The 3 men and the dog still paying their licence fee. That's good news.
But also, the promise given by the Conservatives, especially the MPs, was that they were going to get rid of the licence fee or at least decriminalise it, so that if you don't want to pay it, no one's going to come around to your house and knock on your door.
They have set a date to abolish it, though, haven't they?
I believe so, but it's like 2028 or something. It's like, okay,
right.
That's as useless as anything else. So the idea, oh yeah, we've frozen the license fee. Good job. Big dog saved. Big dog totally not going to be shot tomorrow, is he? It's just, it's not good enough. And as you can see here, the argument from the BBC being, we need to increase the fee 13% for what? Diversity hires, presumably. They've got nothing else. And Dominic Cummings responded to all this by saying, Tory MPs, every day you delay the inevitable is a day that the new PM isn't spending doing stuff to save your seat. In 2024, you're asking for 18 years and a fifth term. Very, very tough. Promises won't cut it. New PM must be delivered. TikTok.
Yeah.
He's right, but also...
Tories need to completely reinvent their party, I think.
Yeah. I thought we'd also just check out the BBC stuff, because I love the Defund the BBC movement and campaign, let's say, because they're right. And there were some defenders of the BBC who went out trying to defend them in response to this freeze. And this guy here, for example, putting up a poll saying, should Boris Johnson's government defund the BBC? And him being pro-BBC expected it to be no. And instead it was 85% of the people saying, yes, defund it. Go to hell with it. It is pointless. It is a...
Having said that, the way they're going about this, I suspect when the license is abolished, they will find another way of funding it. But you can talk about that more on the...
Oh, I'm sure they can go private. And if you want to pay for that crap, go for it. Not my problem, So if these losers want to spend their money on this, but they won't. They're all getting paid by the BBC currently, and they won't be throwing the money back in.
I also think the government is going to want to retain its financial leverage on the BBC rather than let them go private.
Maybe if they're corrupt, but that's not the right thing to do. Or is it the
no,
thing they said?
When has that ever stopped a British government?
Hey, I'm still going to call them out and say it's wrong. Okay. But if we go to the other people who are wrong, then we can see the defenders. And this one made me laugh, which is some paid shill going 33 pence a day for all this crap that you don't use. No one uses.
What about BBC Radio Asian Network, Callum?
I don't care. I'm very sorry to the Asian community. I've sinned for saying that the BBC Radio Asian Network is a piece of crap, but I'm not paying for it. If you want it, pay for it yourself. And as you can see here, Lawrence Fox responding with, Netflix is 33 pence a day. Defund the BBC. Yeah, if you want some nonce-flicks, then you can go pay for that. And they've got a leftist bent as well. And, there's your choice. Except at least nonce-flicks doesn't, put a tax on you to watch their programming, which you must pay if you want to watch TV. If we go to the next link, I also saw the Defund the BBC campaign putting out the point that these individuals promoting all these posts, all these verified checkmarks, literal paid shills. As you can see here, Dan earns £295,000 per year.
What, one guy spends... Oh, gosh.
It's a good job. It's a good job.
And spends £600 a week on taxis. I thought that was for an organisation. Oh, my goodness.
Dan himself, apparently. He doesn't want to lose the gig. Oh, I'm shocked. I am very shook about the idea that this guy is desperately defending the BBC. I mean, I would too if I was getting paid that much. I mean, you don't want to continue to get paid that much? For what, as well? So he thinks people on minimum wage who occasionally watch live broadcast TV should be forced to pay via the threat of imprisonment. Absolutely correct. I mean, this is why I love the Defund the BBC campaign, if nothing else. They're just so good at laying it out. If we go to the next one, we can also see the stupid argument of, trying to replay the dumb John Cleese advert from, the 70s? Yeah. 80s, sorry. And this person making the clear point, which is, if the best defenders of the BBC can do is find a piece of its license fee propaganda from 1985 when there were only 4 channels and no internet, then they must be running out of arguments.
Yep.
Adil Rather, another verified checkmark who works for the BBC, or at least did for at least the last 14 years or whatever the hell it was, doing unknown number of things and getting unknown amount of money. But even if you want to make the argument of, I like the BBC and I want it to exist because I like this show or this particular piece of media, should other people be forced to pay for your show? How about you pay for it? How about if you want to watch a thing, you give money and then you get the thing, like everything else in society that isn't death or taxes. So what about also the structural leftism involved in the BBC? Because I thought I'd just bring this up because, if you want to find arguments why the BBC should die, Voltaire's Ghost, very good. Go and check him out and also his videos. But if you want some small pointers, in case you're not convinced, maybe we could take a look at the unhealthy obsession with race, as we've mentioned previously in the past. I mean, that's just one image. I can't remember where that was. I think it was just recommended viewing on iPlayer.
Right.
What do you want to watch next? Can you get that up, John, just so we can see it bigger? Because just read some of the titles. What do you want to watch? What is white privilege? Special programming on protests and racism. Advice if you're upset about racism.
Do you notice the race of characters in your books?
No. White privilege needs not having to worry about racism. Black History Month. Black Britons
UK kids on how George Floyd's death in America has affected them.
Well,
it's not propaganda, guys.
The white privilege TikTok challenge. Come on, no one needs to be paying for this crap. I'm not taking anything from any defender of the BBC, and the fact that the Conservatives are so weak that their position is, well, we're going to freeze the increase for 2 years. It's not good enough. You know it's not good enough. We go to the next link. I thought we'd also just take a look at the other obsession which they have, which is just openly discriminating against white applicants. This is one example. Also, various other government organisations in there just saying whitey need not apply. they do this at the same time as lecturing you about racism.
Hmm.
They will say white people cannot apply for these jobs, but also black people suffer because of racism. How about you look in the mirror? Nope. But if we continue, I'd also just mention that the content they produce just looks horrific. If we go to the next link, we can see an example. BBC News beat here. Where would we be without BBC News? I am rewriting black, queer, and trans visual history in South Africa, says non-binary artist Zanile Muli. What would we do without the BBC? What has the BBC ever done for us?
We've probably never heard of non-binary artist Zanele Muholi.
From South Africa. Very relevant. I am glad that this tax exists. Meanwhile, at GB News, I thought we'd check in with that.
Yep.
Let's go to the next link. What are they doing? Michael Fabricant here, I think he's a former Conservative MP. BBC TV dropped the national anthem 24 years ago. This is GB News starting their programming this morning. The anthem will be broadcast every morning at 6 p.m. sharpish. Which, I love. Which is just, okay. I also love
it's a little bit of the British aesthetic.
Yeah, I love how it's kind of a jab at the BBC, because the BBC has always been the place that played that every day for 24 years, as Michael points out, and then they dropped it as soon as they could, because, well, I don't for a minute believe that anyone was patriotic there, but the GB News trying to fill that role there, or at least celebrating some patriotism, which no other channel is. So, good for them. And if we go to the next link, we can see the effect this is having, or at least the programming GB News is having, which is...
good stuff.
Yeah, they've now surpassed LBC, apparently, on YouTube, which is always good to see.
Well, I remember back when the Brexit debate was going on and LBC had a plurality of opinion on it, people were recommending me, just people in my hometown, I've stopped watching the BBC, but I listen to LBC. I dare say they're not listening to LBC now that they've got rid of Nigel Farage and Majid Nawaz and everyone
else.
Yeah, it's just James O'Brien.
Yeah, I love, I can't remember his name, the chap who makes graphics for us sometimes, where he just replaced it with NPC and I redid the logo and it fits perfectly.
Yes.
Because if that's what they want it to be, that's what they want it to be, but not everything else. But you've also got, so you've got Boris's team trying to do Operation Save Big Dog, and they're crap at it because they're crap. And instead we can look at the other team, which is trying to save Big Dog, the Labour Party, because even though they're winning, they can't help themselves. Diane Abbott here. Our disgraceful Home Secretary Priti Patel wants to use sonic booms against desperate asylum seekers trying to cross the English Channel in small boats. I would say very based, but it's not true, because that doesn't make any sense. Just, read that as a sentence. She wants to use sonic booms against the asylum seekers.
Well, she's misunderstood acoustic weaponry, clearly.
Yeah. I just, as I said, she's going to get the planes to go over and, go boom underneath or something. No. She's, for people listening, she provided a low-res image of Priti Patel because she couldn't use Google, and then some image of a sonic weapon, which is not always a weapon, apparently. So I looked up the manufacturer's specs before we started this, just to make sure.
Yep.
Apparently you can use it in two modes. So you can use it primarily as it is meant to, which is a long-range communication device.
Like a megaphone.
Yeah, as you would use on a boat to talk to another boat that doesn't have a radio or anything, because there are a bunch of migrants on a dinghy. Apparently, according to the manufacturer, you can transmit your voice 5,000 meters. So
5 kilometers, not bad.
Pretty good, and probably what they're using for. Probably not for the sonic booms, as Diane Abbott thinks. But in the weapon configuration, is just that it makes a lot of noise because it's meant for long-range talking, and therefore you could also use it to make a ton of noise and deafen people.
Sounds good. Wire a guitar amp up to that? That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, which also... Why are you trying to break into the country? Here's some noise. Go away. You get closer, you get deaf. I mean, that would be actually something to look at. And if they are looking at it, yeah, why not? It's up to them if they want to keep sailing towards the White Cliffs of Dover.
I also think that would be the most glorious way to repel the migrants from our shores. Just wire it up to an electric guitar and have a Royal Marine riffing out a mad solo.
Well, you can have them playing Rule Britannia. Just Britannia Rules the Waves, a series of PT boats just around the coast. Yeah. If you get too close, you get deafened by Rule Britannia. That's the payment. You want to come in illegally? You must be deafened by Rule Britannia. Or you could just buy a plane ticket like everyone else. And the last thing here I just wanted to mention before we go to the last link here, which is just before we started, I saw Dominic Cummings also releasing that apparently Jeremy Hunt is looking at running. So he says in here, it would take a lot of persuading me to put my hat in the ring. And Dominic Cummings saying that this is Westminster bubble talk.
That's brilliant. This is SW1 code for leadership contest is imminent. Sign up early if you want a seat in cabinet. I'm on phone to donors and getting office set up. There has to be one non-Brexit nutter in last two.
So yes, apparently that is what we're looking forward to, because Operation Big Dog probably going to fail. Operation Shoot the Dog in the Head probably going to succeed. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to subscribe to get access to all the premium content on the site, such as the Epoch series, which Carl and Bo did together, this one on Romulus, and apparently what a scumbag he was. So go and check that out. If you'd like to keep up with what else is coming on the website, you can always follow us on Getter. For example, you can follow Carl at @CarlBenjamin on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.